Quiet, please.
The only thing better for colors than cheer is new cheer with advanced color guard. Now, dirt goes, color stays longer. Excellent for cotton.
Training is what made the National Guard and Reserve successful in the Gulf War. The same training that makes your employees better when they come back to work for you. Be a hero. Give your employees the freedom to protect ours.
For a full hour of morning news that's important to you and your family, watch Channel 13 Eyewitness News at 6 a.m. Join Tom Cook and Gina Gaston for news that happened overnight while you slept. Don Nelson has traffic updates and unusual stories to help you get your day going. Doug Brown's weather reports will help you prepare for your day. And then Dr. Red Duke, psychiatrist Dr. Daryl Knox, and diet and nutrition expert Molly G help you and your family stay healthy. For more morning news and information that's important to you, watch 13 Eyewitness News at 6 a.m.
We will be taking off again for 3 more stops.
Wait, I'm a big picture.
You've been part of something special in my life?
The old Arkansas State House, where Governor Clinton last night made his victory speech. We're going to tell you this evening about a giant conspiracy. Actually, it's more of a collaboration than a conspiracy. The campaign was party to it, so were the Clinton and Perot campaigns, and so too were the television networks. Essentially, in fact, only you, the voters, were left out, which indeed is how it was intended. By last Saturday, Governor Clinton has told me he effectively knew that he was going to win. It's safe to assume that the same polling data that was available to Governor Clinton was also available to President Bush and Mr. Perot. But the Democrats didn't want their supporters becoming overconfident, just as the White House and the Perot campaign didn't want their supporters becoming discouraged. The networks, meanwhile, have been bombarded by criticism in years past that we have disenfranchised voters by predicting elections before the process is completed. So now, all of us, candidates, campaign staff, pollsters, reporters, all of us act as though we don't know. But behind the scenes, as you'll see later in this program, it's a different story. For the past 72 hours, we've been afforded extraordinary access to Clinton campaign headquarters and to Governor Clinton himself, culminating in a final interview just about an hour ago, the first interview with the president-elect. So we begin our program tonight at the point that we joined the final campaign swing in Philadelphia very early Monday morning.
Press, let's go.
The longest day of Bill Clinton's campaign for president started before dawn Monday. The first stop, a diner in Philadelphia.
It's the day before the election.
Back at Clinton headquarters in Little Rock, campaign staffers are gearing up for what will be their last day in the war room.
Thousands of people waiting for Clinton this morning outside of the Philly diner in the rain. Looks absolutely great on TV this morning.
I have 9 cities to go, but remember, on the last day of this great campaign to change America, I started it in the city where America began much of its future, Philadelphia. Goodbye. I love you.
The next stop, Cleveland. From the plane, Governor Clinton checks in with his staff at campaign headquarters in Little Rock.
Are we still ahead in the poll in Arizona?
It's tight, but it's possible.
It is an emotional time for me. I'm very nervous. I'm very hopeful. I know it's not a done deal, and I get very nostalgic about my friend of 20 years. Maybe being elected president of this country.
In Cleveland, Clinton, hoarse from delivering too many speeches, addresses his second rally of the day.
I have nearly lost my voice trying to give you a voice in Washington on Tuesday.
Why is he talking?
Because he can't help himself.
The Voice. The Voice sounds all right this morning.
Well, the Voice is making remarkable comebacks at every landing,
Yeah.
you know, because it's very shaky. But it's okay. He's going to be fine.
Enthusiastic crowds at a campaign rally are often an illusion. Most of them are generated by the campaigns themselves. Professionals depend on more reliable indicators.
These are my lucky charm, these gloves. Got to keep my hands clean and pure so when I touch the victory.
We were just talking at the other end of this thing with your partner, and you were kidding with me about it before. He is apparently now going to be wearing black gloves between now...
Is that his latest?
Yes, that's his latest. So do you want to...
better than not changing his underwear.
So do you want to show us what you've got here?
Here we go.
This is your...
This is my Deguayo tie, the Mexican death song.
the Mexican death sign.
Which
All
is,
right. And why are you wearing that tie?
No prisoners, no mercy, no quarter. we don't want to coast into this, man. We just want to drive a stake through their heart.
All right. Tell me what the point of this thing is. And when I say this thing, I mean 8 stops. Is it 8 stops? Or 9 stops? 9 stops. Between now and tomorrow morning at this time.
We generally do it because, again, the candidate is too wired to sleep usually. The staff is usually wired. And also, you do have the benefit of firing people up.
Then it's back on the plane. The subject on everyone's mind, Clinton's lead in the polls.
CNN has it at 8. ABC has it at 7.
If you took all the polls that are out there, the NBC, our polls, CNN's polls, they'd all average out around 7 or 8 points. I think you could be fairly comfortable with that.
Children shouldn't play with matches. Media people shouldn't play with polls. They're dangerous things. They blow up in your face.
One of the things that has struck all of us in this campaign is the importance of a candidate trip into a state. There is an immediate effect. 2 points, maybe even 3 points in some cases. So, it's almost like a football game. Who gets the ball last can make a difference. And that can turn a narrow defeat into a narrow victory.
Another stop, another rally, the third of the day, this time in Detroit.
How do you do it? Must be really fatigued. It's the last lap, man. It is just after 4:30 in the afternoon. The campaign is already more than 10 hours old, and it is not yet half over. We are in St. Louis. It is cold, it is drizzling, and it is miserable. It is as though Governor Clinton has made a compact with the American public. If they will only vote for him tomorrow, he will subject himself to one more day of as much pain as humanly possible.
The speeches and rallies are simply the most visible part of the campaign. As reporters covering Clinton's final effort file their stories, the candidate has not a moment to himself. First, he is interviewed by Tom Brokaw in New York.
You've been at this business a long time. What do you think now as you look ahead to the next 24 hours and you look back over the past 13 months?
First, I feel enormous gratitude. Gratitude to the American people who believed in me enough to let me keep fighting for the ideas, for the changes that I think America has to embrace.
In the time that is left, before departure from St. Louis, another round in the endless cycle of autographs, handshakes, and photographs. And then, out of nowhere, amidst the chaos, a gem-like moment.
For the land of the free and the home of the
and then it's back to work. The Clinton Marathon touches down in Paducah, Kentucky.
This is the 5th stop I have made today. We began in Pennsylvania. We went to Ohio. We went to Michigan.
Pennsylvania has a governor who's not supporting us. Ohio has a Republican governor. Michigan has a Republican governor. And Missouri has a Republican governor. And so we have to be there to make sure that to counteract the infrastructure in those states.
By this time, almost everyone is having a hard time focusing. The media is bored by the repetitive speeches, and everyone is showing fatigue, except Bill Clinton.
It's an interesting thing. I had a little last-minute campaign argument with my staff about
whether to come here?
Yeah, because they said, but it's not a big media market. I said, you don't understand. Wendell Ford and Brenton Jones said we have to go there because we've not been there, and we can carry Kentucky if we do. And it touches southern Illinois, where we're strong, Tennessee, it touches Indiana, it touches Missouri, even, and you know, it's multi-state impact. It's the biggest crowd we've had today, I think.
Not only that, but behind those lights, I don't know if you can see them, there's just one satellite truck after another and one dish after another.
Oh, yeah, we got all the media from all these states. It was great. It's great.
Back on the plane and energized by his reception, Clinton calls the war room for a little "I told you so" with his advisors, who had urged him to pass over Paducah.
They're nervous for that.
Hey, Governor! Does this mean you think it's time for a change in America? Does this mean you think your candidate was right in going to Paducah against all advice? I'm proud of you. I'm grateful to you. Come see me when I get home in the morning. I want you to be the candidate. Thank you all. We're going to McAllen. Good night.
The call interrupts the last war room meeting of the campaign.
You know, I was kidding James yesterday. I said he's about to pass from the role of regular human being into the role of a legend. And I think he really deserves it. Because probably for the first time in a generation tomorrow, we're going to win. And that means that more people are going to have better jobs. People are going to pay a little less for health care, get better care. And more kids are going to go to better schools. So thanks.
Back when I became a Democrat, and the way this party was really founded, and I think we forget it sometimes, there's a simple doctrine. Outside of a person's love, the most sacred thing that they can give is their labor. And somehow or another along the way, we tend to forget that. And labor is a very precious thing that you have. And any time that you can combine labor with love, you've made a merger. And I think we're going to win tomorrow. And I think that the governor is going to fulfill his promise and change America. And I think many of you are going to go on and help him. I'm a political professional. That's what I do for a living. I'm proud of it. We changed the way campaigns were run. And people are going to tell you you're lucky. You're not. Ben Hogan said golf is a game of luck. The more I practice, the luckier I get. The harder you work, the luckier you are. I was 33 years old before I ever went to Washington, New York. I was 42 before I ever won my first campaign. And I'm happy for all of y'all. You've been part of something special in my life. Now, never forget what y'all done. Thank you.
72 hours to victory. Behind the scenes with Bill Clinton. An ABC News Nightline special edition is brought to you by the new Dodge, a division of the Chrysler Corporation, and UPS, For reliable on-time delivery around the world, you can trust UPS.
We saw that we could move the windshield forward on a sedan and reduce wind noise while increasing visibility. We saw that moving the wheels toward the corners would result in greater stability and more passenger room. We saw that this cab forward design is not only more aerodynamic, it looks like nothing else on the road. And now that we've seen what's possible on a four-door sedan, we can't see building one any other way. Intrepid, this changes everything.
It seems Europeans have a passion for certain things American. And one of them happens to be the reliable, efficient delivery of a certain American delivery company, UPS. Fact is, we've built the most comprehensive delivery network in Europe. So next time you need something shipped there, use the outfit Europeans find, well, so fashionable. UPS. We run the tightest ship in Europe.
Presenting Campbell's new double noodle soup. Twice the amount of noodles for those with a true passion for the simple noodle.
Took me about 25 years to see things the way I do now. And I think I'm still learning. One thing that a customer should get is the feeling that he is the most important person in the place. At your service. You open your place to people more with American Express. It's easier. No, I couldn't really put it any other way.
American Express is welcomed at Harry's Bar and just about anywhere else Harry's been.
Come on, let me show you what it's all about.
It's about Oprah coming to prime time with Richard Gere and Jodie Foster, Vanessa Williams, and The Simpsons. Oprah behind the scenes tonight.
Thursday on Primetime. This hidden camera investigation may forever change the way you shop for food.
The fish smells to high heaven. They soak down in flow rock. Take the smell out of it.
A Primetime investigation, Thursday.
Tonight's ABC News Nightline Special Edition now continues. Once again, Ted Koppel.
Inside the war room of Clinton-Gore campaign headquarters in Little Rock, staff members are winding the campaign down, preparing to celebrate an anticipated victory. The candidate himself is flying through the night on this leg from Paducah, Kentucky to McAllen, Texas.
Governor, when I told you they were cracking out the champagne, you were gonna warn them not to do that, weren't you?
Bet.
Why?
Nobody's voted yet except in Texas and Colorado and where they have in absentees. We got 4 more stops to make, and then they all need to be alert tomorrow because we got our get out the vote operation. We've worked very hard to be extremely well organized, especially in the areas that Democrats normally do well, where we've got a lot of Republican and independent support. And they can celebrate tomorrow night if it works out all right.
You're almost afraid to believe it at this point, aren't you?
Well, I've been in a battle for over a year for things that I believe in, and it all is building up to tomorrow. Tomorrow hasn't happened yet. So I think we got an excellent chance to win, but I think we've all got a job to do, including me, and then we'll celebrate tomorrow in Windsor.
I mobilized the international coalition to defeat an evil dictator.
Even aboard the Clinton plane, though, bubbles of exuberance are difficult to suppress. Someone has popped a Dana Carvey tape into the VCR.
Please vote for me. Please vote for me. Please. Don't want to be a one-termer. Please vote for me.
The real George Bush has one final campaign stop.
And I think America likes a comeback.
I think somebody likes somebody that fights for what he believes in, and that's what I am doing right here, right down to the wire.
Roughly 20 minutes ago, President Bush made his final campaign appearance in Houston, Texas. We are 325 miles away in McAllen, Texas. And Bill Clinton is just getting warmed up. His campaign has another 12 hours to go.
South Texas can bring America home to what it ought to be. Be there tomorrow and lift this country. Thank you, and God bless you all.
He likes to tell us that we are better.
Next stop, Fort Worth.
Yes, his favorite line, of course, is read my lips. But I've been sweet-talked before, and I don't like it. You know, when I get screwed, I like to be kissed. So it's up against the wall, Republican president.
The crowds which come to these campaign rallies are, by definition, loyal supporters.
It's up against the wall, Republican president. Yes, it's time for a change. So long, bye-bye!
As Clinton arrives in Albuquerque, New Mexico, it is very late at night, and the temperature is below 40.
I don't know whether you guys know it, but it's 3:15 in the morning. What are you doing? What are you doing out here?
Waiting for you.
At 3:15?
Dad, we've been here for 3 hours.
Now, don't you get...
Spend all night here if we have to.
Say hello to the President of the United States!
Change is good. And he hasn't done for me, and I'm a Republican. What the hell am I doing out here with a bunch of Democrats? It's still out of place. But the reason I voted for Clinton is because he has a formulated plan. The president hasn't done nothing.
In spite of themselves, despite warnings against overconfidence, staff members have begun talking openly of President Clinton's plans after the election.
I think he will try to focus on 1 or 2 or 3 major areas early on.
There is one final stop on the Clinton campaign, Denver at dawn.
I mean, I thought about it for a moment last night when we were playing cards, and looking at it and thinking, even though we're sitting there, I don't want to be presumptuous, but some of his friends and playing cards, this guy's ready to be the leader of the free world. That's an awesome thing.
I believe this morning that Coloradans will go to the polls and vote for opportunity, for community, for the hope of a new America, for the belief that we can make things better, for the conviction that it is our responsibility to do it. I think you will. I need you. Be there, and tonight we will celebrate a new future for the greatest country in the history of the human race. Thank you, and God bless you all.
It's going to be all right.
Come out of this on the right side for
You bet. It's done. It's done. We're finished.
Turning things around. We're looking for more quality.
Inside and out.
Upside and down.
We've raised our standards.
Behind the scenes.
Around the neck.
And across the board.
And while we're turning more of our attention to quality,
one thing remains the same.
Our great values.
And our great values are everywhere you turn.
Having a tough time with pork chops? Shake and Bake makes plump, juicy pork chops your whole family will love. Why fry? Shake and Bake.
In Europe, things happen on time, right on schedule. Punctuality is the norm. And that makes Europe the ideal environment for UPS. Fact is, UPS has built the most comprehensive delivery network in Europe. So when you have a shipment going there that has to be on time, use the delivery company whose punctuality is a time-honored tradition. UPS. We run the tightest ship in Europe.
The first time I switched pain relievers, it was from aspirin to Tylenol. Then recently, I switched again, from Tylenol acetaminophen to Advil. You see, I got these really pounding headaches, and I found Tylenol didn't always get rid of all the pain. So I tried Advil and found that for my really tough headaches, 2 Advil worked better than 2 extra-strength Tylenol tablets, better than extra-strength Tylenol caplets, better than Tylenol gel caps. For my tough headaches, Advil just works better.
Look for a special Advil coupon in Sunday's paper.
Here's how the mind reacts to 2 pizzas for $5.99. Shock, disbelief, denial, and finally, acceptance. Now at Little Caesars, 2 pizzas for $5.99. Doozy.
You've heard about it.
Dear, it's going to be Shanna down there.
You've read about it.
She's not used to the competing, all that pressure.
You won't believe what really happened.
Want her gone. Look out, Mama!
Willing to Kill, the Texas cheerleader story, Sunday.
72 hours to victory. Behind the scenes with Bill Clinton, an ABC News Nightline special edition. We'll continue in a moment.
Can having a baby put your sex drive in reverse?
What about sex?
What's that? How to be both good parents and good lovers. 2020, Friday.
Now get the freshness of Glade in an air freshener made just for your car. New Glade Clip-On.
Clip-on here, clip-on there. Clip-on freshness everywhere.
Clip on your favorite Glade scents with refills that freshen for 30 days.
Freshness near or far, freshness for your car.
With adjustable vents for just the right amount of freshness.
Clip-on here, clip-on there.
New Glade Clip-On.
Clip-on freshness everywhere.
From FC Johnson Wax.
This sandwich is a real eye-opener. A chicken breast, crispy on the outside, marinated so it's spicy on the inside. It's the new Spicy Crispy Chicken Sandwich at Jack in the Box. Just how do those places make those tiny little burgers for under $1? Very carefully. But for 99 cents, Jack in the Box has the country fried steak sandwich. Nothing small about it, but the price.
A preview of the newest state lottery game, Thursday on Live at 5.
Tonight's ABC News Nightline Special Edition now continues. Once again, Ted Koppel.
The final presidential campaign appearance of 1992 is almost over. In the eastern half of the United States, the polls have already opened. It is just after dawn in Denver. And Bill Clinton is lingering for a final moment before re-entering his campaign aircraft for the flight home to Little Rock.
I hated to leave. The energy, that's what I was getting out of that crowd, you know. And they believed again. They had all that hope, and I somehow wanted to grasp it and take it home and keep it always.
Let me first of all just say something. How do you react to it? It's over.
It's hard to believe. You know, a year and a month ago to the day, we began. With all the ups and downs, it's been an incredible experience for us. And I think that going back to the people, spending all the time talking to people and touching at these rallies, getting on the bus trips, doing the town meetings, trying to be accessible, giving the people their government back is a way of giving them their country back. And I think that will be the enduring legacy of this campaign.
There have been bad moments in this campaign, and moments when both of you must have felt it's not worth it.
We never felt that way.
Really?
Never.
Even at the darkest moment?
Never. And partly because we both knew
each other very well, and we both knew that the only thing that could possibly derail us or this campaign was giving in to things that weren't true. And so part of what motivated us day in and day out was the conviction that Bill started this campaign with, which was that it was really worth fighting to try to accomplish what he has laid out.
Whatever little fragment of privacy you've still had over this past year, if this is a successful day for you, it's gone.
Well, you know, I just don't buy that, I guess I have to say. I think that part of the challenge is to make politics attractive to all kinds of people again, and part of that is, for me, making it possible for people to feel like they can be real people with real lives and raise their children in appropriate manners and relate to people in a personal way and not give that up because they want to serve this country, whether it's president or anything else.
I don't know of any president or first lady over the last 20, 30 years who's been able to live that kind of life.
There is this sense that we've gotten out of all these town meetings and all these bus trips. People keep calling us and say, please keep doing this, please keep coming out, please keep finding ways to relate to people. I mean, I think they have a lot of sympathy with any president about how easy it is to get isolated behind the walls of the White House, which are more walled than they were 10 years ago. The walls of Camp David, the walls of Air Force One, you know, the walls of all the security that surround you, and they do a wonderful job. And, you know, it's a crazy world out there. We need them, but we've got to find a way to cut through that isolation that I think undermines the ability of a leader to connect with the people. I mean, the American people know instinctively we did not develop these problems we now have overnight. Therefore, they know if I win, I will not solve them overnight. What they want to know is that we're going in the right direction, we're listening to them, and they're involved in the process. And to do that, you've really got to try to slice through this alienation and isolation so many of them feel from the president.
One more question to you both, if I may. There will come a moment in the next few hours, and I remind you, this program doesn't go on until tomorrow night, but there will come a moment in the next few hours when you stop being Governor Clinton and either become another one on the long list of Democratic has-beens from George McGovern to Mike Dukakis, or you become President-elect of the United States. Has that moment hit you yet?
No. But whatever happens, I will thank God for the chance to have done this, to fight for what I believe in, and I will be thankful to the American people for giving me more than a fair hearing. I will be thankful to the legions of my old friends and new friends who stood up for us all along the way. And whatever happens, I feel very much at peace.
The candidate, his staff, security, and the press have been going for almost 30 straight hours. There's more to be done following the landing in Little Rock, but as far as the campaign is concerned, this is truly the last leg. Many of these people have been traveling together for more than a year.
Landing, cross-jack.
Even Governor Clinton, not renowned for his humor, gets a little giddy.
By a nearly unanimous vote of those of us in the front, we will be taking off again for 3 more stops. We have not yet been to, it will be a little awkward. We're going to the A's that we missed. We're going to Alabama, then we're going to go to Arizona, and we're going to make one quick stop in Nome before coming home, finally to give you a rest. Thank you, and take a quick nap. You'll need it before the day's over.
Thank you very much.
Elvis lives.
No one has to tell you that doing business today is more challenging than ever. But all over the world, one company is helping you meet those challenges head on, no matter what it takes. new thinking.
We saw that by moving its wheels toward the corners, we could make a sedan handle like a sports car. We saw that through precise tuning, we could vary the road feel, giving you a choice of 3 different suspensions. We saw how tires designed to our specifications could enhance not just handling, but quietness. And now that we've seen what's possible in a 4-door sedan, we can't see building one any other way. Intrepid. This changes everything.
Hi, it's me again, the TV. Look, if we're going to spend quality time together, I think we need to open up a little. So, I'm a Taurus. Turnoffs are dust, power surges, and people who flip the remote. Favorite reading? TV Guide. Because TV Guide has the best stories about me. So you're tuned in and we have a better time together. This issue, Old Blue Eyes is back. Now, tell me about you. Ooh, out of time. Don't watch TV in the dark.
Everybody needs some money sometime. Everybody.
When you need money fast. Hello, Sue. Come to Western Union. We send more money to more people in more places than anyone else. Western Union, the fastest way to send money.
It's the creamiest, Velveeta shells and cheese.
Only one can be the creamiest, because only one is made with Velveeta cheese sauce. Definitely not a powder. The creamiest. There's only one.
Velveeta shells and cheese.
Come on, let me show you what it's all about.
When the kids get chicken pox, Al gets a roommate.
My mother has 17 years of me growing up, and she put them all on 12 8-hour tapes.
It's a special hour of home improvement. Next.
Thursday, look who's coming to ABC.
No kid.
Andy Griffith returns as Matlock with an all-new 2-hour movie mystery.
I'd like to talk with you a little bit about murder.
Thursday, it's a Matlock special, this time on ABC.
The 30-hour campaign marathon ends in Little Rock shortly before noon of Election Day. It is just about the time that the Clinton staff, back at campaign headquarters, is getting its first results from the exit polls.
Up one in Florida.
The numbers confirm everyone's political instincts.
Yeah, I think we're doing a little better than I thought.
The buzz is like a current racing through the building.
We're showing 49 Clinton, 38 Bush, 14 Perot, 11 points. State like New Jersey, that's a nail in George Bush's box.
Out at the airport, Paul Begala is a little shy about admitting his next assignment. I remind him that this program won't be on until after the election.
At some point today, but flying back here, the governor had a lot of pretty interesting thoughts about what he wants to do with the speech tonight. I'm going to get with our speechwriters and policy people, political people.
By the time Governor Clinton takes his daughter Chelsea into the voting booth, he and his staff already know that they have won.
It's over. The economy.
As the afternoon wears on, television news organizations, acutely conscious of criticism that they have discouraged voters across the country by announcing results before the polls have closed, newscasters are telling their audiences a lot less than they know.
53.
But behind the scenes, reporters and campaign staffs routinely trade information on what their respective polls show.
49-30. Indiana, you're behind by 4, 39-43.
By 5 o'clock, it is already pretty clear who has won or lost which states, and roughly what the final figures will be.
They're calling it. The computer's calling it. They've got enough of a field to call Michigan. Where was Michigan? Where was Ohio? Okay.
Have you adjusted to the notion yet there is that magical transformation that takes place when a guy stops being a candidate and starts being the president-elect?
Not even close to it. It doesn't compute to me at all.
But you're...
I mean, he is still, and we still have meetings here in this little office in Arkansas, and the idea that this is a landslide and he's going to be president, and it does not, I can't quite fathom it. It's little by little, the more I hear the numbers and I watch it on television, it's beginning to sink in. But it's going to take me a while. It may have to be the day he puts his hand on the Bible and says, I'm ready.
It's about superstition and strategy. Just don't think beyond election day.
We literally stop ourselves from having, I mean, how many dinners, I mean, we all have dinner together every day. How many dinners have we been out to where somebody starts thinking past November 3rd and, you know, what'll happen if this, or who will have what job, and literally it doesn't take us 60 seconds for everybody to, don't say it, we're too superstitious.
Now he is, well, will very shortly be the president-elect, and you know that. Now it's simply a formality.
Right.
Can you see him that way yet?
No. I mean, it's hard. It's different. I never called him Bill. I always called him Governor, but I was sitting on the couch an hour ago, and I don't know what to call him when he calls. And I was really like, you say, Mr. President?
The Clinton campaign has been something of a children's crusade. Many top staffers are in their late 20s and early 30s. Mickey Cantor, a close friend of Bill Clinton's for 14 years, is a contemporary of the governor's. He has been the campaign chairman, but he too realizes that things will now be different.
It'll be a new thing for a lot of us who are close to him, but I think it will be different.
Did you start calling by his first name?
I won't, no, not anymore. He's President-elect Clinton as far as I'm concerned.
I'm scared. I think it's a little bit like, I'm kind of scared to see him the first time. I mean, my only other experience has been with governors and senators. I mean, I know that once someone gets elected, the relationship changes. It's inevitable. I have no idea what it's going to be like when you see somebody in the president-elect. I mean, I've never talked to a president.
James Carville is a warrior, a mercenary, a political hitman for hire. But he also operates by a rigid code of honor and is enormously proud of the fact that Mary Matalin, the woman he loves, who is a political strategist for President Bush, operates by the same code. James, I'm going to ask you a very personal question, and while I don't know you well, I know you well enough to know that if you don't want to answer it, you'll just tell me to shove it up my nose. How does Mary feel today?
Well, I mean, I think she's hurting. I mean, who wouldn't be? She's, you know, they got a lot of rats over there that left the ship. She was not one. I mean, I'm real proud of her. I would say that to anybody. I mean, there were a lot of people over there that jumped. She never did. I mean, you know, she fought her heart out. I think she fought her heart out. I think Tory Clark fought her heart out. I think Lynn Martin acquitted herself well. I think there's a lot of people over there that's been around too long. But I mean, I think she probably fought, you know, I mean, she fought hard. I'd have enormous, I mean, I would say it to anybody. I mean, and I think that I don't think people tell me this on the campaign because of my relationship with her, but I think people respect the fact that she stood up and fought for her guy. I mean, I think that they obviously, I mean, we hit back hard, and I think she probably said some things that, but she was in there plugging away. And you see these, look, if Bill Clinton ever gets into political trouble, and I would as loyal to Bill Clinton as Mary Matalin was to George Bush, I would have served Bill Clinton well. I'd say that to anybody.
What's your dominant emotion today? Pride, happiness, nostalgia, sadness, combination?
I can't sort it out. I really can't sort it out. I've all of my life I've thought of the way I would feel on a day like today. I mean, I've dreamed about it. When I jog, I think about it. I drive in cars, I ride in airplanes, I think about it. It sounds stupid, but I just really don't know what I think. I really hadn't got it out. I think that the thing, I'm really happy for the government, or the president-elect, I guess I should say.
It's kind of sad when something like this is over, isn't it? It worked out better than you could possibly have dreamed.
I have never been in a campaign that at some point, maybe, you know, 24 to 48 hours of the campaign, I didn't break down at the thought of it being over. I mean, the emotional ties are too great. And it's severed. I mean, it's gone. It's all different right now. It's just, it's so immediate. When it's over, it is like over. Boom. I mean, you go and you have a couple drinks, you tell some stories, you know, and that kind of stuff, and remember what happened in New Hampshire and here, and this happened there. But it's like, boom, it's gone, done, behind. This will be, you know, I'll get to go pontificate and go to seminars, and, you know, big schools and stuff like that, and be a great citizen, and, you know, and that'll be fun. I mean, I look forward to it, but you're never going to come back. There's never going to be another war run. There's never going to be the sort of electricity. I'm never going to walk in a place like this again.
Now continues. Once again, Ted Koppel.
Has someone told you yet, because I honestly don't know the answer, is it at this point appropriate to call you governor or Mr. President-elect? What's the...
I think governor.
Is there such a title as Mr. President-elect?
Oh, no, I don't think much about titles. I don't know. It never occurred to me before.
Yeah, because, you know, I'll tell you, a lot of your staff are wondering what to call you now. Can we just go over there and sort of lean against the riser, maybe one of the last casual pictures we get of you?
Dusk was falling over Little Rock just about an hour ago as we walked out into the garden of the governor's mansion for a few final thoughts on these last 72 hours in Bill Clinton's life.
You going to miss this place?
Yeah, very much. I'll miss the house, the grounds, the neighborhood. I'm really attached. I think it became obvious to people in this election, and I'm very, very much attached to my roots here. And it will be difficult for me to give them up.
You and I have talked a couple of times over the last 48 hours or so about that magic moment when you begin to feel, your wife Hillary begins to feel, the staff members begin to feel, the reporters covering you begin to feel that you're not quite the same person you were. I know you're going to fight that. You still feel like the same person, but you know you're not, don't you?
Well, I have more responsibilities now. And I have even a higher sense of obligation. I'm happy about it. I'm exhilarated by it. And I'm still pretty, you know, I'm a pretty loose person, pretty laid back. I don't take a lot of these things too seriously, but this is a very important time for this country, and it's beginning to sink in. I mean, today I didn't go to bed until about 4 last night, and as you know, I worked 30 hours the day before, so I was awfully tired, but I just finished my first 2-hour meeting with the board of my transition operation. We've gone over a lot of the kinds of decisions we need to make in a short order and the kinds of things that we'll have to do between now and the first 100 days of the presidency, and there's just an immense amount of work to be done, all the while trying to be faithful to our obligations to thank the people who helped us and to maintain the kind of can-do and open and flexible culture that was so dominant in our campaign. So I spent 2 hours, of rather mind-boggling hours, thinking about what comes next. So I don't expect that I'll have a lot of time just to sit down and revel in the election. You know, there's just not going to be much time for that.
I don't think you will. Are you going to, normally, it's foreign policy that comes first, and indeed, when you met with reporters here this afternoon, you were instantly making it clear to friends and foes alike out there, there's always that danger that someone's going to misinterpret the American process, which is so natural to us and seems so strange to other countries. You also mentioned the economy. When it comes to naming your cabinet members, are you likely to stick with tradition, or are you going to send another signal? I'm not going to ask you who you're going to name, but maybe name a Secretary of Treasury first, or a leader of OMB. I mean, something to say to the American people, the economy is going to come first.
I think the American people will be very clear on that as they watch the conduct of this transition. I haven't made a decision about what cabinet members to name in which order. That may, in some measure, be a function of how we come in the selection process, but I am going to focus like a laser beam on this economy. And foreign policy, will come into play in part as it affects the economy. Healthcare comes into play in large measure as it affects the economy as well as the lives of millions of Americans. But we've got to keep that focus because so many of our social problems have been aggravated by economic difficulties. There's more child abuse and neglect than there would be if we had a healthier economy. There's more family breakup. There's more crime. And I'm not blaming child abuse, family breakup, and crime on the economy, but the economy makes those things worse. And we have got to focus on the things that we can have an impact on early on and then reach out and radiate to these other things we want to bring in.
Any calls yet from foreign leaders?
Some were placed today, apparently, when I was sleeping, and I just couldn't call them back, but I intend tomorrow to make some calls back. We'll see who's called and what the appropriate thing to do is. I'm anxious to have some conversations with them, but I thought that today I ought to spend some time focusing on my own responsibilities.
Is there someone there with sort of a Robert's Rules of Order for you? I mean, there aren't a whole lot of people who have become president of the United States, and not many to tell you what's appropriate and what's inappropriate.
Yeah. Well, we have some people who've done a good job of studying transitions. They've done a good job of trying to sense the proper protocol of how I should do this. But, you know, I'm a very active, hands-on person. It's my style. It's the way I've governed here. It's the kind of president I expect to be. I want to be involved with people, and I want to be involved with them not just in having nice personal relationships, but in working relationships and getting things done. That's what I keep score by, whether we do things. And so I hope that other leaders of the world will find that refreshing, and I think they will.
One last question, Governor. How many months do you give yourself before the country's problems cease being Bush's problems, Reagan's problems, and become Bill Clinton's problems?
Oh, I don't know. That'll be up to the people, I guess, to some extent. But keep in mind, there are, as I've said till I'm blue in the face for over a year now, there are two big economic problems in this country. One is the short-term problem of this lingering recession, which keeps driving incomes down and unemployment up. The other is the problem that has gone on now for nearly 20 years of steadily declining American productivity, where we're not generating wealth at the same rate as many of our competitors. So that over a decade now, based on the census figures, 2/3 of the American people are working harder for lower wages than they were making 10 years ago, which means when we're adding jobs or shrinking, when the economy is growing or shrinking, there is a trend that is not healthy. And in order for us to really recover the American dream for all these millions of young people who voted for me and for others out there, but whose whole life is before them, we have got to turn around a trend that is of more than a decade of duration that was very, very pronounced in the last 10 years. So my immediate job, yes, is to get us out of this recession, but to do it with a long-term strategy that will lead to real income growth so that you won't have people 10 years from now working longer work weeks for lower wages than they were making 10 years ago, which is precisely what has happened in the last 10 years. Through administration after administration after administration, we have ignored those things which we have to do to get growth rates up.
Governor, thank you very much. Incidentally, has anyone told you in the last couple of days, you look different than you did 2 days ago?
You think so?
Well,
I've aged 10 years. I've aged 10
thank
years. Thank you.
I wish you good luck.
Thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We close where we began, outside the old Arkansas State House, where Governor Clinton gave his victory speech last night. There is something stunningly and uniquely American about the way that political power transfers under our system. Not quite painless, but bloodless, without violence, and with a completeness that is not present even in countries very similar to our own, like Great Britain. There, a former prime minister usually remains in Parliament and frequently continues to lead his or her party. When our presidents are out, they're out. And the new president begins the transition process that will put all the powerful instruments and levers of that office into his hands. Roughly 60% of the public would have preferred it otherwise, but those are the rules, and everybody abides by them. Thank you for watching. I'll be back later this evening on Nightline. I'm Ted Koppel in Little Rock. Good evening.
What's so bright?
and bright stars through the perilous fight.
Stay tuned for Home Improvement next.
We're so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bomb bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the
If you wish to order a videocassette version of an ABC News Nightline Special Edition, 72 Hours to Victory, Behind the Scenes with Bill Clinton, call 1-800-ABC-7500. Use your Visa or MasterCard. The cost is $19.98 plus $3.95 shipping and handling. If you wish a transcript, please send $7 to 72 Hours to Victory, Behind the Scenes with Bill Clinton, Journal Graphics, 1535 Grant Street, Denver, Colorado, 80203. Or call area code 303-831-9000.
This has been a special presentation of ABC News. Based on a true story.
You want him dead, break her legs.
She would do anything to get her done.
Thanks. It's the day before the election.
Back at Clinton headquarters in Little Rock, campaign staffers are gearing up for what will be their last day in the war room.
Thousands of people waiting for Clinton this morning outside of the Philly Diner in the rain. Looks absolutely great on TV this morning.
I have 9 cities to go, but remember, on the last day of this great campaign to change America, I started it in the city where America began much of its future, Philadelphia. Goodbye. I love you.
The next stop, Cleveland. From the plane, Governor Clinton checks in with his staff at campaign headquarters in Little Rock.
Are we still ahead in the poll in Arizona?
It's tight, but it's possible.
It is an emotional time for me. I'm very nervous. I'm very hopeful. I know it's not a done deal, and I get very nostalgic about my friend of 20 years. Maybe being elected president of this country.
In Cleveland, Clinton, hoarse from delivering too many speeches, addresses his second rally of the day.
I have nearly lost my voice trying to give you a voice in Washington on Tuesday.
Why is he talking? Because he can't help himself.
The voice. The voice sounds all right this morning.
Well, the voice is making remarkable comebacks at every landing,
Yeah.
you know, because it's very shaky. But it's okay. He's going to be fine.
Enthusiastic crowds at a campaign rally are often an illusion. Most of them are generated by the campaigns themselves. Professionals depend on more reliable indicators.
These are my lucky charm, these gloves. Got to keep my hands clean and pure so when I touch the victory.
We were just talking at the other end of this thing with your partner. And you were kidding with me about it before. He is apparently now going to be wearing black gloves between now.
That is
It's drizzling and it is miserable. It is as though Governor Clinton has made a compact with the American public. If they will only vote for him tomorrow, he will subject himself to one more day of as much pain as humanly possible.
The speeches and rallies are simply the most visible part of the campaign. As reporters covering Clinton's final effort file their stories, the candidate has not a moment to himself. First, he is interviewed by Tom Brokaw in New York.
You've been at this business a long time. What do you think now as you look ahead to the next 24 hours and you look back over the past 13 months?
First, I feel enormous gratitude. Gratitude to the American people who believed in me enough to let me keep fighting for the ideas, for the changes that I think America has to embrace.
In the time that is left before departure from St. Louis, another round in the endless cycle of autographs, handshakes, and photographs. And then, out of nowhere, amidst the chaos, a gem-like moment.
For the land of the free and the home of the
And then it's back to work. The Clinton Marathon touches down in Paducah, Kentucky.
This is the 5th stop I have made today. We began in Pennsylvania. We went to Ohio. We went to Michigan.
Pennsylvania has a governor who's not supporting us. Ohio has a Republican governor. Michigan has a Republican governor. And Missouri has a Republican governor. And so we have to be there to make sure that to counteract the infrastructure in those states.
The old Arkansas State House, where Governor Clinton last night made his victory speech. We're going to tell you this evening about a giant conspiracy. Actually, it's more of a collaboration than a conspiracy. The campaign was party to it, so were the Clinton and Perot campaigns, and so too were the television networks. Essentially, in fact, only you, the voters, were left out, which indeed is how it was intended. By last Saturday, Governor Clinton has told me he effectively knew that he was going to win. It's safe to assume that the same polling data that was available to Governor Clinton was also available to President Bush and Mr. Perot. But the Democrats didn't want their supporters becoming overconfident, just as the White House and the Perot campaign didn't want their supporters becoming discouraged. The networks, meanwhile, have been bombarded by criticism in years past that we have disenfranchised voters by predicting elections before the process is completed. So now, all of us, candidates, campaign staff, pollsters, reporters, all of us act as though we don't know. But behind the scenes, as you'll see later in this program, it's a different story. For the past 72 hours, we've been afforded extraordinary access to Clinton campaign headquarters and to Governor Clinton himself, culminating in a final interview just about an hour ago, the first interview with the president-elect. So we begin our program tonight at the point that we joined the final campaign swing in Philadelphia very early Monday morning.
Press, let's go.
The longest day of Bill Clinton's campaign for president started before dawn Monday. The first stop, a diner in Philadelphia.
Yes, that's his latest. So do you want to?
Better than not changing his underwear.
So do you want to show us what you've got here?
Here we go.
This is your...
This is my Deguayo tie, the Mexican death song.
The Mexican death sign.
Which
All
is,
right. And why are you wearing that tie?
No prisoners, no mercy, no quarter. we don't want to coast into this, man. We just want to drive a stake through their heart.
All right. Tell me what the point of this thing is. And when I say this thing, I mean 8 stops. Is it 8 stops?
9.
Or 9 stops? 9 stops. Between now and tomorrow morning at this time.
We generally do it because, again, the candidate is too wired to sleep usually. The staff is usually wired. And also, you do have the benefit of firing people up.
Then it's back on the plane. The subject on everyone's mind, Clinton's lead in the polls.
CNN has it at 8. ABC has it at 7.
And if you took all the polls that are out there, the NBC's, our polls, CNN's polls, they'd all average out around 7 or 8 points. I think you could be fairly comfortable with that.
Children shouldn't play with matches. Media people shouldn't play with polls. They're dangerous things. They blow up in your face.
One of the things that has struck all of us in this campaign is the importance of a candidate trip into a state. There is an immediate effect, 2 points, maybe even 3 points in some cases. So, you know, it's almost like a football game. Who gets the ball last can make a difference, and that can turn a narrow defeat into a narrow victory.
Another stop, another rally, the third of the day, this time in Detroit.
How do you do it? Must be really fatigued. It's the last lap, man. It is just after 4:30 in the afternoon. The campaign is already more than 10 hours old, and it is not yet half over. We are in St. Louis. It is cold. It is... Quiet, please.
The only thing better for colors than cheer is new cheer with advanced color guard. Now, dirt goes, color stays longer. Excellent for cotton.
Training is what made the National Guard and Reserve successful in the Gulf War. The same training that makes your employees better when they come back to work for you. Be a hero. Give your employees the freedom to protect ours.
For a full hour of morning news that's important to you and your family, watch Channel 13 Eyewitness News at 6 a.m. Join Tom Cook and Gina Gaston for news that happened overnight while you slept. Don Nelson has traffic updates and unusual stories to help you get your day going. Doug Brown's weather reports will help you prepare for your day. And then Dr. Red Duke, psychiatrist Dr. Darrell Knox, and diet and nutrition expert Molly G help you and your family stay healthy. For more morning news and information that's important to you, watch 13 Eyewitness News at 6 a.m.
We will be taking off again for 3 more stops.
Wait, I'm taking a picture.
You've been part of something special in my life?